Hey, this is Reggie Fab coming at you with week 8 of my year of living differently. My schedule has been insane for the past couple of weeks. I've had so much going on that I haven't been able to weekly update the blog like I want to, so I apologize for that. But I'll be hitting you with week 8 right now, and then just in a couple of days, week 9. So I keep on moving even though I'm not able to post. However, I wanted to update you on week 8's emotional detoxing. This is probably one of the most important things that I've been doing since I started this year of living differently. There have been a lot of things where I have been detoxing in my life. I've been doing a lot of physical detoxing. And I think that's important. You get a lot of toxins in your body, a lot of nasty, gunky stuff. But I think it's also important to do an emotional detox. And I don't think that we do that often enough. So I wanted to really think about the nasty, gunky feelings and emotions that I've been harboring and a really good way to get rid of those. So the first one that I looked at was anger. There are people in my life that I've been angry with, and there's some people where it's brand new. There's some people where it's been years and years. There are some things that were really small. There are some things that really did serious damage and destruction in my life. It's so heavy, it's so weighty, and really wanting to change and get rid of that. Anger is natural, it's certainly a natural human emotion, but holding on to anger just is so unbelievably destructive. But one of the things that I also had to realize is that I had to let go of the justification. I was right to be mad. This person wronged me. This person did horrible things to me. And the justification made me feel right. It gave me some power in the situation. But it also caused me to hold on to the anger. So in looking at the people that I was mad at, I had to also look at the feelings that I held of being self-righteous in those situations. So what I did was write letters to all of those people. And I mean, it was the uncensored, uncut, feelings hurt version of the letters. I mean, I put everything that I have ever been thinking, feeling, thought, you name it, I put it in the letter. And I got it all out. I mean, really got angry as I was even writing some of the letters. But it was important to do that. Put it on paper, get it out of my system. And then I took them and I read each letter, balled it up, and I set it on fire. It's interesting, in the Bible, fire is used for testing and purification. And there really is a purification process in it. I'm never getting those letters back. You cannot rebuild ashes. I don't care how hard you try. And so it really means that I'm permanently letting it go. But there's also the fire, the purification, just getting rid of the bad stuff and leaving the good stuff behind. That's really what I wanted to do in my life. It's amazing how much lighter I instantly felt after burning those letters. But you also really have to check yourself and be sure that you're ready to let that stuff go. If you've been carrying around feelings for years and years and years, there is a way that they feed you. And like I said, mine was justification. You have to be ready to let anger and all of anger's friends go, and it really does just lighten your load so much. The second thing I did is around the theme of forgiveness. Last summer I participated in the Encounter, and the Encounter is a wonderful weekend where you get to, I'll say, unpack your stuff, and you really have to deal with your stuff. Anybody who's in Nashville or is interested in driving to Nashville, I'll put a link in the video description box about the Encounter and what it's all about. I highly recommend it. It's not very expensive, but it is so life-changing. It's a great experience. Go if you can. But one of the things that Derek talked about in the Encounter was that there are two things that bind us to people: promises and unforgiveness. And so And it's really interesting how well they're related, because a lot of unforgiveness, most unforgiveness, comes from broken promises. Things that were either stated or unstated, but simply implied because of the relationship. So when I've broken promises, I had justifications and explanations for why that happened. And when people broke promises for me, I had justification in being offended and being hurt and being angry. And I held on to that. There are very few times in life when you are a true victim. You contribute to the majority of the gunk in your life. Now, you may not have been the one to put the big icing on the cake, but you put some flour and sugar in the mix. I had to recognize that I broke some promises with people. I needed to forgive them for the things in the broken promises they had with me, and I needed to ask for forgiveness. And that was challenging in some situations. I have spent so much time looking at how I was wronged. It's really different to go back and flip the script and say, okay, but what did I do to contribute to me being wronged? And how did I wrong the other person in this situation as well? And that takes a lot of the fire out of the anger. That takes a lot of the fire out of the sorrow and the hurt feelings. Because when it's a shared experience, it's not just your fault, but it's our fault. When it is you did something wrong to me, it's really easy to deal with. When it's I did something wrong to you that led to you doing something wrong to me, that led to me doing something wrong to you, that led to you doing something wrong to me, it changes the temperature of those feelings. And so it was really important for me to look at some of the small things I did. And they weren't intentional, they weren't even big. Sometimes it was just the fact that I didn't say anything. But because I didn't say anything, I let things fester, and that grew to emotional distance, and then that grew to lack of conversations, and then that grew into something else. So there were small things that I did. There were some big things I did too. But really looking at the whole picture, the totality of the issue, and then just saying, I forgive you, and asking the other person to forgive me. It really cuts that negative bond that you have to some people, and is very freeing. And the third thing is just letting it go. And that's hard for me too. I want to stand here and talk about how right I was. I want to stand here and dwell on what happened. And if I don't move on, nothing bad else is going to happen. I just get to sit here and revisit all the bad stuff that happened before. But if I don't leave the situation where I was wronged, I won't move to the situation where I was righted. If I don't move past the pain, I don't get to the joy. And sometimes we get so stuck in it, and we don't even realize that we're stuck in it. But you gotta just let that go. This has been a really powerful week for me. I feel so much lighter, so much freer, and able and ready to move on in a lot of situations in my life. This is personal, this is professional, this is relationships, this is friendships, this is acquaintances, this is supervisors, this is parents, this is family members, this is everybody in your life. Let it go. Just let it go. And it's amazingly freeing. So the emotional detoxing was great. Like I said, I just feel lighter. I don't feel like I have some of the weights that I've been carrying around for years, and that's an amazing thing. So next week, which will actually be just a couple of days from now, I'm really going to do a look back and talk about some of the changes and evaluation of the changes that I have made and some that I haven't, and what that means for me thus far. So until then, bye!